Hey guys, so before I do this review of Da Vinci's Tiger, I got a couple of things I wanted to say. This has nothing to do with anything, it just made me feel good. I'm sure you guys can tell that I'm wearing makeup right now because my eyes are silver. But this morning when I went to the doctor, my doctor totally thought I was wearing makeup that day, and I'm like, no, I'm actually just rolled out of bed, got dressed, brushed my teeth, all that. And and I was like, it must be the Korean skincare products that I've been using on my face because really Asians really know how to make skincare, and I've saw great improvement in my complexion since I started using this stuff. I've actually been thinking about doing a review on my Korean skincare products. I'm gonna try others as I go along because I don't know if I've found my perfect fit yet. But if you guys want to see a Korean beauty review, I would be more than happy to do that. Just tell me or whatever. And the other thing is, I know I told you guys that I was gonna read 6 Earlier Days, which is a little companion book that goes with every day, and I did read it, but it's so short. I figured not to do. I figured I wouldn't do a video review on it, so I just read it and picked out of my book jar off camera, and I got Da Vinci's Tiger in my pick out of the jar, and I gotta say, this was my first book I got out of Crate, and it was quite disappointing. I only gave it. Actually, I think I was generous. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. I initially was gonna give it 2, but it did like all the good stuff happen right at the end, and it isn't badly written, so I had to give it an extra star for that. But it's by L.M. Elliot, and I'm really sorry. It's, like, I know this is like your big Crate book, but I didn't enjoy it. Some stuff. Well, before I get into that, I read it from April 9th to April 12th, and that's how you can tell that I couldn't really get into it because it took me like 4 days to read. Normally, I can read a book in 2 to 3 days. Before I go into what I did like, and what I didn't like about it, I'll tell y'all. It's about, and these names are really hard to pronounce because they're very Italian. So it's about Ginevra, and she is a very beautiful girl, but she's also very curious and intelligent, and she wants to learn, and she wants women to be more than what they're able to do in this century, because this is obviously in Da Vinci's time. And in order to do this, she decides to be painted by Da Vinci and not do the common pose for it, not be inside the house like women are depicted as, and being outside in nature, and doing, just going against traditional norms. And the way she gets her portrait commissioned is because, okay, I just think this is just set up for failure. Basically, I guess in the Italian time in Italy in this time period, people thought that if you took a platonic lover, that by not being able to, what's what I'm looking for, by not being able to be intimate with them, like being able to, you know, I'm trying to think of the way they say it when you get married, when you commemorate your marriage or whatever, when you are intimate with someone, they decide by taking a platonic lover and basically just writing them poetry and maybe kissing them, but never having sex, that you find a way easier into heaven, I guess. And I just think this is just a huge setup for failure. Because first of all, if you take a platonic lover, you're already married to somebody else, and you get jealous if somebody was writing love poetry to your mate, And it's just like, this is stupid. What is the point? It just hurts your spouse, and it's just, I don't get it, but pretty much she becomes the platonic lover of a really rich ambassador, but he also has gambling problems. He's not as rich as he is anymore, but he's well known. I really think the author had good intentions with this novel because it was trying to teach a lesson of, a girl trying to break gender norms and, becoming more than men want her to be in her time. But there's a lot of talk and no action. It's very boring. It's a lot of back and forth about art, which I like art. My grandmother's an artist, but there's not enough action. It's all about, it's all talking. I got the characters confused a lot because of the Italian names are very similar. So that's a little confusing. All the action was at the end of the book, which really, when I got to the end, I'm like, oh, what's gonna happen? But it wasn't enough to save the book. There is a rape scene in the book that I totally disagree with. Her platonic lover, who's not really a good guy, I don't remember his name, But eventually he does try to force her to, have sex with him. And she's like, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm your platonic lover. This isn't what it's supposed to be. She doesn't want to break that traditional norm because she wants to be more than an object or, a woman. And so she doesn't want to break that. And and he does try and force her, and she fights back. But as soon as she fights back, he laughs it off, and then doesn't want to do it anymore. He's like, "Oh, you're such a tiger," and just drops it. And I thought, if he's willing enough to try and sexually, dominate you, he's not gonna just stop in the middle because you fought back. I'm sorry. He does get her in the end with a later revenge, so I guess that's makes up for it. But I just find that very unbelievable. And like I said, it was a lot of talk. I know a lot of people got this book in their outgrade, and if they liked it, that's fine. But it was too boring. Some parts were unbelievable. I didn't really find it that entertaining. Like I said, I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. The Kindle book I'm currently reading is Carmela, which is a book I've been wanting to read for years, and finally, it was free on my Kindle, and I finally picked it up. So that'll be my next review, and then I'll be picking from the book drawer again, and I'll see you guys in the next review.